I broke my own heart. And that's something that took me a long time to admit. I legit broke my own heart. Not on purpose, not because I was careless, not because I didn't know better, but because of the story I kept telling myself. And I can't even sit here and say that it was just a one time thing. It wasn't. Like, this pattern showed up in my relationships, in my friendships, in my work life, in the way I trusted, waited, assumed, and a lot of times overextended myself. Different people, different situations, same story. And this isn't about blaming myself for any of it because, you know, feelings were real, the hope was real, the effort was real. But what hurt me wasn't always what was happening. What hurt me was what I believed it meant, right? I filled in the blanks. I took potential and turned it into promise. I took effort and assumed consistency. I took kind words and heard commitment. I took opportunity and called it alignment. And this isn't just in like my love relationships. This was at work, right? I believe effort would eventually be matched, right? In friendships, I believe loyalty would naturally be returned. And in relationships, I believe clarity would come if I just waited long enough. I kept trusting the idea of things instead of the pattern in front of me. Okay? And if any of this feels familiar, not because you've done something wrong, but because this is a very superhuman thing to do. I didn't do this because I was naive. I did it because I'm the type of person that values depth, because I believe in growth, because I see potential easily. But there's a difference between seeing potential and building your life around it. Like, spiritually, I was attaching before reality confirmed it. Logically, my mind was completing patterns with missing information. And that's not failure, that's actually conditioning. I didn't fall in love with what was consistent. I fell in love with what could be, right? If timing worked out, if healing happened, if things eventually aligned, if I just held on a little bit longer to that person, to that job. Like, waiting can feel so noble when you believe in people, places, and things, but waiting without evidence quietly drains you in a way that super sucks, right? And maybe you felt that too. That slow exhaustion that comes from hoping instead of knowing. And that even boils down to intuitively knowing, right? The heartbreak didn't really hit when someone didn't choose me, or that job didn't give me that promotion, or I didn't get the job or whatever. It hit when I realized I had been living inside a future that no one else had actually agreed to build. And that right there is a different kind of grief, because you're not just letting go of a person or a place. You're letting go of a version of your life you already started living in your mind. And for a long time, I asked myself the questions like, why does this keep happening to me? Why do I always end up disappointed? Why do I give more than I receive? But the question that changed everything was much quieter. What story am I repeating? And why does it feel so familiar? And not acts with shame, because sometimes shame is sprinkled up in there in the yuckiest of ways, but more so from a place of curiosity. Like, okay, something needs to change, because clearly I'm the problem. And here's what I saw clearly for the first time. I wasn't chasing people or chasing money or chasing jobs, right? I was chasing certainty, safety, the feeling of finally being able to exhale, right? Because I feel like I've been holding my breath my whole life. So I borrowed certainty from the future and used it to survive the present. I confused hope with truth. And maybe that's something you're sitting with too. I don't know. I know I'm not by myself, but here we are. Now, healing didn't mean I stopped caring. It meant I stopped assuming. I stopped romanticizing inconsistency. I stopped calling effort alignment. I stopped expecting people to meet expectations they never agreed to, right? And clarity honestly became a form of self respect. Not hard, not cold, just honest, right? Like, perfect example to make this, to give you an example from a career perspective, right? You know, I've shared in my other videos that my job ended unexpectedly at the end of August, right? And I had been on the contract for a little over 4 years, and a lot of times I did stuff that wasn't even in my job description, just because I love my team. You know, I love my job or whatever. And then it got to a point where a lot of our responsibilities changed because, you know, that's just the nature of things. And I started trying to carve out a path that would kind of guarantee that job security, right? You know, at the time I was a web content administrator, but with the whole wave of AI, it's like, you know, we were all trying to figure out how to incorporate AI within our positions, right? And, you know, it was easy for me. I no problem, right? And I let people know that, hey, if they needed some help with it, you know, I think I did some trainings, and I'm like, cool, I should be good to go. This is a good pivot here. I can do more of the AI stuff. Well, no, that didn't happen. They were like, your official last day is September 5th. And I'm like, oh, interesting, right? And it hurt. It hurt. But the reason why it hurt so bad is because I thought that I had it all worked out in my brain, right? I had it all worked out, like, I'm a pivot from this and I should be good. Gut punch, right? So that's just one example. And it's like, if I really look at it now in hindsight, the writing was on the wall to a certain extent, or that it was always a possibility that either it wasn't going to give me much job security, but also that I wasn't going to get compensated for the extra work they didn't even ask me to do, right? But they said, okay, well, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. This is amazing. So I said all to say, if you're hurting right now in love and friendship or in work, ask yourself softly, what story have I been telling myself? And what happens if I release the story without closing my heart? Because honestly, that's where healing actually begins. This conversation, if I find the nerve, will be the first of many in a longer series. But I think that's just the nature of the season we're in. Like, heartbreak isn't just about matters of the heart or people leaving. It's about learning how to stay with yourself, right? Without the illusions, right? And I want to keep talking about that because I don't think it's talked about enough. It's very easy to play the blame game, the shame game, the what's his name game. But to really look at it and say, you know what? This is a pattern for me. This is the same issue, different face. That's when you have to go in and ask yourself some tough questions, right? And in this case, what story have I been telling myself? Right? instead of pretending your heart ain't broken or blaming someone else for your heartbreak, right? So that's all I have. Until next time, I love you all.